Welcome. My name is John Shea. I am one of 18 volunteers helping out with the Capital campaign, really a good group. We want to thank you all for being here today for the groundbreaking ceremony for Mainspring. Appreciate everybody being here. I think we've got folks from across the river, from New Hampshire, from Maine, government representatives, municipal, state, county, federal. We have foundations, businesses, individual contributors of great significance, agencies, partners, prospective partners, architects and builders. It's a really phenomenal group. And although Mainspring is about building community, let's not forget that the simple act of all of us making time today to be here for this is in fact building community, and a really important thing not to take for granted. So we appreciate all of you being here today. Thank you very much. We have a short program that will culminate with shovels and a toast in about 15 minutes. Kicking it off are Emily and Megan. Emily Flinkstrom is the Executive Director of Fair Tide. Megan Shapiro-Ross is the Executive Director of Footprints. Together, they are our leaders and the co-founders of Mainspring. Emily and Megan.
Just going to take a moment to soak this all in. Thank you all for being here. It's really hard to believe that this all started with a simple question. How can we be doing this better? How can we better meet the needs of our community? And getting to this milestone, and we're definitely not there yet, but getting to this particular milestone is proof that there's some serious power in a group of people with great minds and caring hearts coming together and working toward a vision. And it's taken a whole lot of work to get to this point, but actually it's given me hope. Because when we get the calls from our community members who have nowhere to live, or who are about to lose their housing, or who are just struggling, and we get those calls quite a bit, it gives me hope to know that there's a better answer on the way. So this moment, today, is a celebration of one step closer to that better answer that all of our community members deserve. And I'm just so grateful and thankful and inspired to be here with all of you to celebrate this milestone. And I'm going to invite Megan up to say a few words.
So to piggyback off of what Emily said, all of you is the reason we got to this milestone, and we just thank you so much for seeing the vision of Mainspring, the potential impact of Mainspring on our community, and the impact we really believe is the answer for us. And also, not only your support, but also your trust in us to do this work for the community. That's a big sense of belief in us, and we appreciate that. And sometimes when we doubt ourselves, I think we count on your trust, so thank you for that. This crowd is comprised of an incredible group of individuals, and Emily and I both want to thank our board of directors, the steering committee, all of the individual donors, the foundations, our corporate sponsors, the local, county, state, and federal support, and of course the media coverage that has done a great job locally to get this word out there about what we're doing, particularly in New Hampshire and in Maine, because this is a real regional model that we hope will benefit everybody. And I also want to thank Good Shepherd Food Bank. They were one of our earliest supporters who saw this vision. They understood the cross-sector between housing and hunger and every other impact of poverty. And they supported us with few questions asked and said, yeah, we trust you. And with that, I want to introduce the Vice President of Community Partnerships for Good Shepherd. She's also a friend of mine. I feel very valued to know, and that's Shannon Coffin.
Thank you, Meg. And how could you not believe in Meg, right? It was very easy to do. As Meg mentioned, my name is Shannon Coffin. I'm the Vice President of Community Partnerships for Good Shepherd Food Bank, and I'm just have to say, both professionally and personally, I'm just so honored to be here, so joyful to be here and to be a part of this with all of you, this celebration of the groundbreaking from Mainspring. For those that may not be familiar with Good Shepherd Food Bank, we support Mainers facing hunger by sourcing nutritious, culturally relevant food, and distributing it to over 600 partner organizations across the state of Maine, including food pantries like Footprints here in Kittery, meal sites, schools, healthcare centers, and senior programs. Our community partnerships team is there to support them all in everything from succession planning to food safety to neighbor engagement and best practice sharing. Like many food banks across the country, we've been doing this work alongside our partners a long time now, over 4 decades. And in that time, we've collectively learned a lot. Like how the experts in food insecurity are those who navigate it personally, and the best solutions will always be inclusive of and centered on their voices and experiences. And how food insecurity doesn't exist in a vacuum, but as a symptom of systemic poverty. We've learned that even though the Charitable Food Network was originally designed for emergency response, with grocery inflation and rising housing expenses, food pantries are more and more of our neighbors' primary access to groceries. And how much of our neighbors' precious time, energy, and hard-earned resources, often from folks working 1 or more jobs, have to dedicate to getting their family's basic needs met. And we've also learned that at their best, food pantries can do so much more than provide nutrition. They can also reinforce neighbors' personal agency with choice-driven shopping models and by centering their voices in decision-making and policy setting. They can provide safe places to build community with one another. And they can serve as connection points for families to the other resources that they need to thrive too. Mainspring is the absolute culmination of those lessons and a testament to what is possible when communities come together and dream big. I look behind me and I just can't help but smile because I can already see those beautiful blueprints coming to life. I can see the people shopping for their tried and true favorite healthy foods and what I've heard Meg describe lovingly as a grocery store with no cash register, and trying new favorite healthy foods in the community kitchen. Right after they've been able to chat privately with a caseworker, apply for WIC, access medical or mental health supports, or find a winter coat or school clothes at Fairtide Thrift Shop. And then I smile even bigger looking in front of me at all of you and the love and dedication and hope in your hearts that has been and will continue to be what makes this all possible. Today isn't just about breaking physical ground. It's about breaking new ground in our collective imagining of what building community services centered on community members in Maine and beyond could look like. Thank you to all of you who are bringing this inspirational vision to life.
Just another big thank you to Shannon and everybody at Good Shepherd Food Bank for all their incredible support for this project. We have also gotten some amazing support from Kennebunk Savings Bank. And many of you know Kennebunk Savings Bank as an integral part of our community. They've supported many of the nonprofits in our region, and they've really stepped up in a big way to help bring Mainspring to life. So I want to invite up Lex Mahar, who's the Senior Executive Vice President and Chief Credit Officer at Kennebunk Savings, to say a few words.
So we like to travel in packs at Kennebunk Savings. So there is a group of us over here, including our president and CEO, Brad Page, our senior commercial lending officer, Aaron Aubry, who's a new board member, at Fairtide. So we are coming up on our 30th year of our community promise, which is the commitment we make to give back at least 10% of our earnings to nonprofits that are making a difference in our community. Over the years, we've worked with a number of organizations to help alleviate food and housing insecurity, and we've learned how many of our neighbors have been impacted by these issues. We've also learned the power of collaboration and how much more good we can do when we work together. We've been very impressed with Fairtide and Footprints over the last number of years, helping those in need, and we are extremely excited to support this partnership. So, thank you.
So in addition to our foundation partners and our corporate partners, we've also had many generous individuals in our community contribute to our capital campaign. Many of you are here today. And I would like to bring up two of those individuals, Peter Lamb and Faith Harrington, who have given a generous financial gift to Mainspring, but just as importantly have dedicated countless hours as members of our campaign steering committee, donated their time, their expertise, and are just incredible ambassadors for this project and have brought many others into the fold as well. So I'd like to invite them up to say a few words as well.
Thank you, Emily. Welcome, everyone. It's so wonderful to see you all here, and thank you so much for the gifts and the time and the talent and the treasure that you've all given, each one of you. For me to explain why we take the time to do this, Peter and I, and put resources towards Mainspring, I have to speak personally for a minute. So I moved here about 40 years ago. I'm not a native, of course, but I raised my daughters here, and both of my daughters went through the school system, then they went away. And they went very, very far away, like as far away as you could go, New Zealand, for instance. And then about 4 years ago, one daughter came home. And then a year later, my other daughter came home. And now I have a daughter in Kittery Point. Her husband works at the shipyard. We have a granddaughter. We have 3 grandsons that we adore who live in Elliott, Maine. So we have 3 generations of people who love this place, who honor this place and respect it, and things that happen here really matter to us. And this is just one little family with 3 generations plugging for Kittery and for the surrounding seacoast area and to do things for people that might lack resources here. So that's my family, but another key link to why I got so passionate about this project links to Families First. So about a year ago, I got an email about Mainspring. It was from Emily, and she described Mainspring and what it was about. And I thought, wow, that reminds me of, 20 years ago when I served on the board of Families First. And it was a co-location model offering mental health, medical health, dental health. And it was really just a wonderful model. I was very passionate about the work that we did there and what we could bring to people who were lacking those resources. So that is part of why Mainspring resonated so much for me, because again, it's that wraparound, the client, the patient model. It's a co-location of many sources, many services here. So thinking about that and then getting involved with Mainspring, getting to know Emily and Megan, that was the other piece. So these 2 women are so smart, so talented, so they think strategically. And once we started really getting to know them, and then we saw the empathy, we saw the big heart. So between their heart and their heads, they, if anybody, this team will bring Mainspring to a vision, and we all know, we're all here, and it's happening. So for fundraising and fundraising, my husband Peter has deep professional philanthropic experience. I dabble, but I knew with him on my team that we could really reach out to people. And for us, it's really about relationship building. Yes, we'd love it if you feel moved to give, but if you know someone that we should tell the story to, that matters just as much to us. And so please know that if we do ask you and you don't want to give, just that's okay too, it's fine. So we started really trying to do what we could do for this group, and we really feel great about what we've been able to do so far. And with all of you, we'll be able to take this to the finish line.
And we also know that Mainspring is much more than just this building. What we, as a regional community, are putting in place now is a consortium of social service leaders who will continually find new and innovative ways to address the needs of the most vulnerable all around us. Faith and I are supporters of Mainspring with our own financial contributions, and we joined the campaign committee to use our connections and knowledge of the region to encourage more people to support this initiative. And in our conversations with folks, I've learned several things. First, very few know or understand the daily struggles and the stressors that rain down on many in our community. Second, most are not aware how much time is spent foraging for services, having to tell your story time and time again to each agency, the feeling of being alone, of hopelessness. And thirdly, a surprising number of people think the population that we are talking about is an issue for Maine and not about the people in Portsmouth or New Hampshire communities. And meanwhile, there's a constant movement of these folks across the river and throughout the adjoining towns here in southern Maine. That's what Mainspring is all about. This Mainspring is a really big deal. And all of us here today, I think, will look back years from now and we'll know that we've put into place something very important to bring dignity and hope and practical help to those who are less fortunate. So we ask you, each of you here today, to reach out and spread the word and give generously to the Mainspring campaign. Thank you.
So as John and Megan have already alluded to, we have great teams behind us to get us to this point and bring us through the finish line. Our steering committee, our boards, our staff. And now I would like to recognize our extremely talented design and construction team and ask them to please come up here so we can do the actual official groundbreaking. Although I just learned that you're supposed to put like a pile of dirt there so you can actually dig your shovels in, and we didn't do that. So this should be entertaining. Lucy Schleifer and Paul Bonacci of ARQ Architects. Tim Dumont from TPD Construction. And Jeff Oliva from Civil Consultants. And as we get prepared to dig into the hard ground, I'm going to hand it back to John, who's going to prepare everybody for a toast. Please, if you don't have a drink and you'd like one for a toast, raise your hand or go grab one from the back table. Thank you.
We're going to finish with the shovels and the toast, so I want to say a couple quick closing things before then. First and foremost, thank you again for being here. Thank you for all you're doing for Mainspring. After the shovels and the toast, you are welcome to stay and linger and grab a snack, ask questions, talk to us. You're also welcome to head out if you need to. And I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving next week. And the last thing I want to say before the toast is a reminder. We're not done yet. There's a lot of work still to be done, and I don't just mean the builders. We are edging up, and we should be really thankful for this. We're edging up pretty close to $3.8 million. Our goal is to get across 5.5. I think everybody here has probably already made their 2023 capital campaign gift. If you haven't, please, I hope you'll consider before the end of the year. Maybe even consider doing more if that's possible. If you've yet to pledge for 2024, please think about that. If you've pledged already and can do more, please think about that. And most importantly, because of all the generosity and commitment that already exists right here, the most important thing all of us can do between now and the end of the year and into next year is keep talking, keep spreading the word. Neighbors, friends, colleagues, the folks that aren't here with us today, they're going to be the ones that get us to 5.5 million. So please keep spreading the word. Everybody's ready? So please lift your glasses to a healthier and stronger community for every single one of us, and to the power of what we can do together. Cheers.